Hi, my name is Thais Gibson, and I'm the creator of the Personal Development School. This is your daily breakthrough video, and in this video, I'm going to answer a question that I recently had from one of our members inside the Personal Development School that said, does online dating make people value connection less? And I thought this was such an interesting topic, and I really wanted to share something that I saw working with so many people in my personal client-based practice for so many years. And what I really found the impact of online dating to be over the last 8 or 9 years is it started to really take shape and take hold and become a lot more common and prevalent. And I wanted to share from that perspective, what I truly saw and sort of answer this question as a byproduct. So I think this is a really powerful question. I think it's probably on a lot of people's minds. And I think that it's really easy to make the assumption based on the behavior you may see that online dating makes it really easy to get connection, which makes it devalued because it's not as hard to come by. It's, you can get more short-term gratification. And what I find is that when I was speaking with so many people on a regular basis, and in my practice for years, I was seeing 40 people a week, a ton of people on a regular basis, and then doing workshops on weekends and seeing, sometimes 100 people turn out for a workshop. I had a lot of conversations with a lot of people. And this is part of why I'm so blessed to learn so much about patterns and really understand a lot of how human beings tended to work. Because I would see so many patterns over time, especially with attachment styles. And what I noticed the most about online dating is that it didn't make people value connection less. It was more like it enabled people to not have to do the work to break through their fears and their boundaries. And one of the most surprising things I found is every person, from any type of background, from any type of, situation, how much trauma they went through, different attachment styles, different age groups, people at the end of the day just wanted some kind of love and vulnerability in a relationship. And maybe they were interested in things like polyamory and not necessarily monogamy, but they still wanted love just the same, right? So no matter what people's relationship preferences were, people really just wanted deep connection that they could trust, that they could be vulnerable around, somebody to make them feel seen and heard and connected to, and that they could bond with. And I don't think that really changes for anybody over time. I think what happens is we get more and more limiting beliefs. We have shorter term ways of getting our needs met that enable us to not have to work through those limiting beliefs. So let me break that down for a moment. What I find, for example, is let's say I have a belief that I can't trust people. Okay. And let's pretend that's a belief in my psyche. And then let's say, because I believe that, I think that I shouldn't be vulnerable because if I'm vulnerable with somebody, I can't trust them anyways, and they're only going to hurt me in the end. And then let's say I still have this need met for connection that everybody has, or this need for connection that everybody has. Well, what happens is that need for connection is still there. It doesn't go anywhere. I don't care about it a whole lot less. I just feel more disempowered. And then the subconscious mind for every single person is a needs meeting machine. It wants to meet your needs in the fastest way possible with the least amount of resistance possible. So we can have this big need for connection that can be best met in theory through vulnerability, through opening up, through sharing, through truly getting to know somebody and bonding with them over time. Or if we have this huge belief block that says, no, that's going to hurt you long term, then your subconscious mind is going to learn to get different forms of its needs met or get its needs met in different forms. Okay. So this is where we may rely on more surface level relationships. And the analogy I often give for this is it's sort of like you can imagine a big need for connection. If we go and we have a vulnerable relationship and we have good communication strategies and we feel truly seen and we communicate our needs and those needs are met, you can imagine that if you have a bucket for connection as you going to the faucet, like a tap, and opening the faucet and it pouring right in and filling that need really efficiently and really powerfully. And then you can imagine that if you have a problem with your faucet, there's a block in the faucet somewhere, then you may go to a faucet and you may have to sit there longer. You can open the faucet and it can drip out in a slower form. And it's still going to fill the bucket. It's just going to fill it in a slower way. But this is often, what your subconscious mind will do. If it can't figure out a way to get its block removed, and it feels a sense of learned helplessness to do so. So let's say the block is I can't trust people. Then my subconscious mind is going to keep going back and just trying to get its needs met through the faucet over time. And you see so many different variations of this across human behavior, especially across different attachment styles. So we may see, for example, a lot of dismissive avoidance. They get their needs met because sometimes they have the most blocks and fears around human connection. They get their needs met a lot of the time through like more indirect strategies, things like feeling emotionally connected to characters on television or in movies, or, connecting with people through a computer screen, playing a game or something where there's sort of a distancing, versus we'll see as people get, let's say we have an anxious, preoccupied person, they may get their needs met by being more direct. But the only problem is they're often not in relationship to themselves. And so they're not able to communicate their needs. And that's their block. And so they'll need lots of connection on an ongoing basis because they don't have that source of self as connection. That's where their block is in the faucet. So people need connection no matter what. And I actually don't think online dating is damaging the need itself for connection. I think that is pretty strongly there across the boards. But I think our limiting beliefs get enabled to not be worked through. And it causes people with a block in their faucet to basically go more towards the indirect forms of getting their needs met. It's like, okay, fine, I'll just sit in front of the faucet for a lot longer, and at least the need gets met over time. And the sitting in front of the faucet, getting all the drops coming out, is sort of synonymous or analogous to, being on a dating app and talking to a whole bunch of different people at a high level over short periods of time. It's like your bucket's still getting filled, but it's not getting filled as powerfully and not in the way that your need truly is there at a deeper level, especially as you peel back those layers. And what I found over and over and over again with people is when you remove their blocks and their fears and their limiting beliefs about connection, about how it's supposed to be, about whether they're lovable or not, or they're in a place where they can have a relationship or not, as we reprogram those beliefs at a subconscious level, that's where I would see people like really get in touch with that need really strongly and not fear it, and then be able to go out and have those empowering relationships in their life. And so I would strongly say that connection is there. It's just the beliefs we have, the programming we have about relationships, people, commitment, vulnerability, all these different things, sharing our emotions with somebody. It's the beliefs that we carry in those areas that act as sort of those blocks in the faucet. So I hope that makes sense. I thought it was a really interesting topic for today. And if you want to join into PDS throughout January, February, March, we are doing a really in-depth series of attachment style interaction live courses, all about the different attachment styles in relationships together, how we can remove some of these blocks and reprogram these different limiting beliefs that we all carry, and also understand our needs, expectations, how to communicate more effectively between different attachment styles, and so on. So I hope you enjoyed this today. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. Please like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already. And I will see you in the next video.